commitment is the number one. Like, that's it. If you're committed, if you just say, put a stamp on it, like, I'm in, like, that's it. Mm-hmm. And that's what the greats have. I mean, like, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, founder of Costco, Jim Senegal or whatever, like the greats, Warren Buffett, etc. They're committed. They're committed to what they're doing, period. Done, end of story, no questions asked. Like, they're not halfway in, halfway out, like, you know. And I think, like, even pulling it back from like a morbidity discussion, it's just like, how about just commit because you know that it's possible, right? Like, society is so fascinating because we talk about the, you know, the differentiation between the 9-to-5 life and, you know, the basic, you know, standard, you know, living. And then we also talk about the converse of that. We talk about stepping outside the box and doing what you want to do, and risk minimization or regret minimization, as Jeff Bezos would put it. And if you just operate on regret minimization plus commitment, you're going to be good. You know what I mean? Because so many things are possible, but you're just not believing they're possible yet. You know what I mean? Like, until you do it, until you do that, and then you're like, wow, I just hit 6 figures in a month. Like, that's amazing. In 30 days, you did what people do
in a year.
And that's not even, the average American makes $45,000 a year.
Right.
Salary. Right. That's it. Mm-hmm. That is so many people, right? The 1%, people think the 1% are like billionaires. Mm-hmm. The 1% only make, well, I mean, you say only, but like some people aren't used to large numbers, like 410,000 and above.
And you're a 1%.
You're 1%.
You're 1% if you're making 400,000 plus.
400K plus, you're part of the 1%.
Especially even here in like Seattle, like we have a lot of demand in high industry and like cost of living here. So like 410,000 might be a lot for other places too, but like even for Seattle, like that's 1% here. And again, once you kind of see that, like, not necessarily how easy, because I don't want to take away, like, and I don't want to try to, again, go for the short game, trying to trick people and say like, oh yeah, making $400,000 is easy.
Correct. It's not easy.
Not. But there's multiple steps to it where, like, again, like if you're working the 9-to-5, like, yes, you can make a living making 6 figures even with a 9-to-5.
Right.
But and there's a clear path and clear direction to 6 figures from a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
You know, you're working at entry level. Now you're going to a senior position. Now maybe you're a people's manager. Now you're upper level management. I mean, upper level management can be making close, you know, 150,000 plus. Mm-hmm. You're mid-level management. You be sitting, and there's a clear-cut direction. Right. But it tops off at some point.
Yeah.
When you're creating a business, and I mean, it seems pretty obvious, it's just like there is no ceiling, but there isn't a straight, narrow path.
Correct.
Nowhere near. You will not have a business that will tell you like 100% guaranteed. And that's why you have FCC, and is it FCC that's like regulating like what you can say that, like, oh yeah, if you start this franchise, you can make $100,000 a month. Like,
oh right,
they
like
can't.
falls
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They can't even fall because businesses are just like so out there. Where even like in education now, like I feel like our education's so behind in trying to teach people how to start a business. Where it's like, hey, specialize in this trade. And like for me, you can become a pilot, and now you can go and follow this straight and narrow path, and now you can start making this, you know, this amount of money. But businesses, the scary part is because there's so much unknown. Right. So much unknown. Like we can put in this work for a year, and technically make nothing. Yep. And there's no guarantee. Right. And that's the sad news, is that some people can and will. Most likely. Right. Like some people have the commitment in them and they'll work for an entire year, and then they see nothing, and people get really discouraged for that. Right. But in that level, it's just like, man, there's just so many, like, you have to be adaptable in these different things. And I mean, I'm ranting.
No. I mean, you're making a perfect point. Like, you know, at the end of like, you know, at the end of the road, where you see the pathway A, B, C, D, you know, taking all the steps going forth and seeing what's going to happen, what's not. You might just stick a fork in it after a year. The funny thing is, like, you and me, we're already beyond that. And so many other, I'm not putting you or I on a pedestal. So many people, savvy business people that have the mindset, you know, dialed in, have already gotten over the potential failure. And I think that's where you win so big, where you already are beyond your failure. So at that point, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, because you're understanding that, like, listen, I don't know this is going to work or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and circling back to Jeff Bezos, when he went to start Amazon, he was on Wall Street. Right. And he was on Wall Street, and he was contemplating this whole thing. And I think he even mentioned it to a couple people after completely solidifying, you know, what he wanted to do and getting things in place. He didn't just give out his secret or whatever, but he had a conversation and, you know, told his superior, I think there was a partner or a superior, but he was already making like $1 million a year or something on Wall Street. And his superior or partner took him for a walk, right? And you probably know about this story, and like took him for a walk and said, like, man, like, hey, what are you talking about, Jeff? Like, this is crazy. Like, you know, are you kidding me? Like, you're gonna drive across the country to Seattle and you're gonna start this bookstore like online? Like, what? I think this is like 1990 something.
Right.
And at that point, it would have sounded crazy.
It sounds crazy.
Right. And so they called him crazy, and, you know, and then he went and did it. And I think the funny part is too, like, you know, he raised $1 million, like, to sell off, I think 20% of the company.
Right.
And those people made out really good, by the way. But
for sure, they're set.
But basically, he took that, and he had that mindset of like, listen, if this goes south, I think he had already done the regret minimization, optimal analysis, everything. Throw in all the words that you can do, to the point where he was like, I don't care. I'm gonna do it, and guess what? I'll figure out whatever happens next.